Imagine sitting in class on a normal school day. You're thinking about lunch. Maybe you're thinking about your homework. Maybe you're staring out the window wishing the day would end. Then suddenly, the principal's voice comes over the loudspeaker. His voice is shaking. And the only words you hear are, "This is not a drill. Lock down immediately." At first, nobody understands what's happening. But within minutes, students are crying. Teachers are terrified. And a man screaming somewhere in the building is getting closer and closer. This is one of the strangest school lockdown stories ever told. Chapter 1, An Ordinary Morning. The day began like any other. Students arrived at school carrying backpacks and coffee cups. Teachers prepared lessons. The hallways were filled with laughter and conversation. Nothing seemed unusual. Nothing seemed dangerous. In room 214, a history teacher was giving a quiz. The atmosphere was calm. The only sounds were pencils scratching across paper. Outside, the weather was perfect. Nobody could have imagined that within the next hour, the entire school would be frozen in fear. Chapter 2, The Announcement. At exactly 10:17 a.m., the classroom speaker suddenly crackled. The sound interrupted the silence. Everyone looked up. The principal began speaking. But something felt wrong immediately. His voice was different. He sounded frightened. Almost desperate. Attention staff and students. A pause followed. Then came the words nobody expected. This is not a drill. Initiate lockdown procedures immediately. The room fell silent. For a moment nobody moved. Then the teacher sprang into action. The classroom door was locked. The lights were turned off. The blinds were closed. Students were ordered to move away from the windows. The cheerful classroom transformed into a dark hiding place in less than 30 seconds. Chapter 3, Waiting in the Dark. The first few minutes felt endless. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Several students checked their phones. Social media was already filling with rumors. Some claimed there was a dangerous person on campus. Others claimed someone had brought a weapon. Nobody knew what was true. The uncertainty was terrifying. One student later said, "The silence was the worst part. Your mind starts imagining things. Every small sound felt threatening. Every creak of the building sounded suspicious. The classroom had become so quiet that students could hear each other's breathing." Chapter 4, The Scream. Then it happened. A scream echoed through the hallway. Not a normal scream. Not a joke. Not a prank. It sounded raw. Violent. Terrified. Several students jumped. One girl immediately started crying. The scream echoed again. This time it was louder. Closer. And then everyone heard something that made their blood run cold. The sound was moving. Whatever was making the noise was walking through the building. Getting closer to their classroom. Chapter 5, Something in the Hallway. The scream was followed by another noise. Bang. Metal lockers rattled. Students flinched. Another impact followed. Bang. Then another. Bang. The sounds traveled down the hallway. Each impact seemed closer than the last. Students imagined a violent person smashing everything in sight. The teacher motioned for complete silence. Nobody dared speak. Nobody dared move. Then a voice suddenly echoed through the corridor. A man's voice. Loud. Angry. Unstable. The exact words remained disputed. But students later claimed the voice sounded threatening. Some said he was yelling at someone. Others claimed he was screaming nonsense. Either way, nobody wanted him finding their classroom. Chapter 6, Fear Takes Over. As the sounds grew closer, panic spread. Several students began texting family members. One student reportedly texted, "I love you." Another sent, "Something bad is happening at school." Some students were crying quietly. Others sat frozen in fear. Minutes felt like hours. The atmosphere became unbearable. Every person in that room was waiting for something terrible to happen. Then suddenly, the classroom door shook. A loud impact struck the other side. Students gasped. The door shook again. For a terrifying moment, everyone believed someone was trying to get inside. Chapter 7, The Disappearance. Then, without warning, everything stopped. The screaming ended. The banging stopped. The hallway fell silent. The sudden silence felt even more disturbing than the noise. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Then 15. Nothing. No footsteps. No screams. No movement. Just silence. Chapter 8, Police Arrive. Police officers soon arrived at the school. They began searching every hallway, every classroom, every stairwell, every storage room. Students waited nervously. Eventually the lockdown was lifted. People expected answers. But the answers never came. Because according to reports, police couldn't find anyone. No intruder. No suspect. No evidence. Nothing. The person responsible seemed to have vanished. Chapter 9, Theories. Over the years many theories emerged. Some believed an intruder escaped before police arrived. Others believed the sounds came from somewhere outside the building. Some students even developed supernatural explanations. The lack of answers only deepened the mystery. Because everyone agreed on one thing. They heard the screams. They heard the banging. And they experienced the fear. But nobody could explain where it came from. Years later, former students still talk about that day. Many remember the darkness. Many remember the fear. And almost everyone remembers the scream. A sound that seemed to come from nowhere. A sound that changed an ordinary school day forever. Because sometimes, the most frightening mysteries aren't the ones we understand. They're the ones that leave no answers behind. Subscribe to Beyond 2 AM for more true horror stories, dark mysteries, and unexplained events. And remember, if you hear something strange in the hallway, don't assume you're alone.